Welcome to NUFC Talk TV, live here Monday night NUFC. We got to talk all things Newcastle United, recap the weekend. That was an amazing weekend, beating Chelsea 2-0. We got a lot of stuff that's come from the weekend that we need to talk about, some reactions, some pieces, some news. We got the man of the match poll, to bring up. We got a lot of stuff going on. Some rumors that make no sense. We shall bring it up, and talk and get the lads to give their opinion. Don't forget to hit the like button, help the channel grow. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Become a member if you can.
40 short from 5,000. Come on, hit
Is that right? Okay, well that's a good number. So let's get to 5,000. That'd be great.
5,000.
Help us out. Help us out. Get to that number. And as you can tell, Mighty Win's been drinking all night. But we shall, Gary and the twins, carry on with the show. Anyway, let me, first of all, welcome Win, Gary, Peter, and Tim. How's it going, lads? All good?
Yeah, very good.
Never better.
Yeah, man. Looking good. Let's go quickly, because we got to talk about the match. Quickly recap the weekend. It was a great weekend. Not only because the American Mag was proven right once again with his prediction, but, it's top of the league right now. Gary is fuming, man. Gary is seething.
Listen, I feel like Nottingham Forest. I've been there all season. And now I'm slipping away.
Slipping away. But a lot of players play good, by the way, really good. So let's just quickly share the men of the match right now on the poll. Tonali with 52%, men of the match. Bruno 7, Murphy 5%. I thought Murphy played really good for him only to get 5%. And Burn 36%, second place for Burn, who played really good in this particular game. No objections to that. But I thought Murphy had more of an impact.
Yeah, I thought Murphy was my man of the match and Burn was second.
My man of the match was Eddie Howe, mate.
Well,
I thought tactically he was fantastic.
I don't know. I'm probably going to then disagree because I don't think his changes did the work, to be honest.
Well, I thought bringing Botman in, for me, what I love about Botman is the fact that you had somebody in there that he reads the game so well. We never looked at any problems whatsoever until they went down to 10 men. And then what they did is they muscled into the midfield.
It's crazy.
That was what was weird.
It's crazy because with 10 men, you figure Eddie Howe's tactics would be go and step on their necks until you see blue. And it didn't work that way.
Yeah, so not like we've got 10 men, not them.
Yeah, but the second half.
When they announced, when the lineup came out and it was wing backs, 3 centre backs, I was happy. I was thinking, when you did the preview show, I watched that, and I was kind of thinking if I was to make a change, it would either be bring Marley in and keep the same team, or have wing backs and bring Botman in. And I've just felt more assured when I saw that lineup, and I think before the sending off, it did work in that we had that perfect balance between attack and being solid and compact. And they couldn't get through, but we were dangerous whenever we went forward, just like the League Cup game with Arsenal, with wing backs. So I was over the moon with how we started the game and with how Eddie Howe set the team up.
But the one thing that changes everything is the goal. People not talking about that. It was in the first minute, so that changes the whole landscape of.
It does.
That's why I don't know that we.
Yeah, it does. But the thing is, that goal came about from us being on the front foot, being in their face. So but that formation didn't stop us from actually having bodies in the box.
Well, exactly. So that's my point, because I feel like we do that when we play big games anyway. We press high. We do that anyway. So I think the formation didn't help, didn't create that goal. So I guess we agree, But Peter, what do you think about the game?
I think on that start. The start that we had, I think we've had so many starts like that where we come out the traps and just blow teams away. And I think the amount of times we've done that under Eddie Howe, I think it's testament to like his management skills and how he's able to kind of how well he's able to get across his ethos and get the players on board with his tactics. I mean, it's just it's like signature now of this Newcastle team over the last sort of few years, really, now, where they just come out, especially St James's, just blow teams away, and it's not to be underestimated, for a manager to get, say, players to buy into that so regularly. So brilliant first half, absolutely brilliant. I thought second half I couldn't watch it because I thought we did ride our luck, and we seemed to struggle weirdly with Chelsea going down to 10 men. It seemed to flummox us a little bit, and I was hoping that they would try and keep the ball more, control the ball, tire Chelsea out. We've got the extra man, so I was thinking just make them chase the ball. But it worked out the way where they had most of the ball, and just thankfully we kind of stood firm. And when you get that deflection at the end with Bruno's shot, I think you obviously it's your day then. So I'll take the 3 points. Brilliant.
Yeah. Did you guys agree with people saying that the man of the match is Sandro Tonali? 735 people have decided that.
No, not
Mine
not
was
for me.
Burton.
Not for me.
I think he was one of many shining stars on that field on the day. I
Yeah.
mean, he started blistering. I mean, like I said, I think we totally ignore where he started from when he won the ball back. He was defensive on the corner, their corner in the first minutes, and literally from the distribution from Pope to Tino, who then obviously fed in Gordon. The ground that lad picked up. I mean, he must have ran 70 to 80 yards to close down. And then it was the tackle. And it wasn't just the tackle, it was to win the ball back and then have the composure just to feed in Bruno, who was alongside him. And then not only just, you think, well, your job's done now. You've done the hard work. You could have just forgiven him for just jogging back into position. But now he had the guile, the tenacity then to run into the space. And that's why I said in the preview, the one thing that you have with a defensive midfielder playing right back is sometimes they don't see the runners. And in the second half, when we went to four at the back, Murphy was also guilty of that. And that's why Eddie Howe made that change and put a natural defensive minder with Kraft in the side. So for me, to make that run, to win the ball back, to the composure to pass the ball, but then to think about where he can attack and help the team. And to me, it was absolutely phenomenal. And I think he set the standard. And when you look at like captains on the field and leaders, that to me showed a true leader.
He certainly does. I mean, but here's the thing. I think Tonali probably can, if you look at it fairly, he can probably win every man of the match poll on a weekly basis, or have be on the poll at least every week. So it begs the question, which I said that we're gonna fall into that eventually, where Tonali is he can't give him the player of the week every week, or can
No,
he?
you can't. If he deserves it.
So but I think he deserves it most times. But somebody to highlight, definitely Murphy. Murphy is we're gonna probably get into that a little bit, but I think Murphy is done a great job this season. And I'm not inventing anything, but it's more about whether he can do it again. I think if he stops playing, playing right now, people are gonna be, can he do it? Can he do it next season? And that's gonna be the test for Murphy.
When I got back in from the match on Sunday. For the reaction, my first comment was, it's time we stopped thinking about this with Murphy as a purple patch, because it ain't a purple patch.
But it is a purple patch though.
Well, but it's not. He's done it all season.
Yeah, but it's one season. So
but what about last season, Chris? Do you not think last season he
didn't play like this, man? No,
he wasn't quite like this. Yeah, but Chris,
last season he was top of the tree.
Yeah, last season he still played. He still had a lot of good games, not as many as this season, but I would argue he had more good games last season than bad.
Absolutely.
So I just think that ultimately, in recent years, not just this season, in recent years, he's been a good player for us. How good is, we can debate, but I would say he's still been a good player. So I think there's this perception of he's either shit or he's amazing. Do you know what I mean? Whereas in reality, I think, like I say, Eddie Howe has brought us, has polished, and with Murphy's obviously hard work, a good player for us in the last 3 years. And yes, I would still obviously sign a right winger in the summer and have him competing with Murphy. But I think I agree, Win. I kind of just think, like, in terms of the Purple Patch stuff, I think Murphy's been really good for us for quite a while now. Yes, he has bad games here and there, but every player's going to have bad games. And this season, he's been absolutely superb.
When we had Miggy and he had his Purple Patch, that was a Purple Patch.
I agree. That was a Purple Patch.
It was 8 games.
Yeah, well, this is 12, so I mean...
Murphy has been doing it week in, week out.
But so did Almiron. Almiron actually was
he
crucial,
didn't.
man.
Almiron
yes, he
didn't.
did. I think it goes by season. You can't say somebody's having a purple amount of game. That makes no sense. It's a purple patch. It's a season. It's based on the season. We'll see if we can. I still believe. I don't know.
Well,
I
trust
the
that season already. There's only 2 games to go.
I trust. Well, exactly. So we will see if he. You won't get a unanimous decision that all of a sudden we don't need a right wing. That ain't going to happen.
No, and I'm not saying that.
And so then you're still questioning Murphy because if not, you would be saying we don't need anybody else.
No, I'm simply saying, as with every position, we want better.
Well, okay. Well, I don't know. You can get any better than this, by the way. So that may be me contradicting myself. But if Mbeumo comes and does this, what Murphy has done, but the fact is, you can probably bet or trust. It would still be a gamble that Mbeumo can do the same thing. You would hope that. And, and if he does, it'll be a great signing.
The beauty is, whoever we bring in, if he ends up not being able to do it, what a lovely position to be in when we've got Murphy to fall back upon.
Yeah.
I think if we'd have bought somebody in the summer of last season or the start of the season, or even in January, and they returned what Murphy's returning now, we'd all be singing from the hymn sheet.
Absolutely.
Exactly. I agree with that.
Would we say? Would we have said it's a purple patch if we had signed a new player and he'd done what Murphy's done? We wouldn't.
But the reason why, because Mbeumo this season has done it at Brentford, and then if next season he brings up the Murphy numbers, then that's not a purple patch. So it because he's doing it, and Mbeumo has been doing it. He's been the most important player for Brentford. Although it's a lower club, and as far as expectations is concerned. But I don't. I'm just telling you, if Mbeumo does the same thing that Murphy has done this year, I agree with you. It will be an unbelievable signing. Nobody will be complaining or anything like that. I think there is a dark cloud over Murphy's head, and some people just got to work twice as hard. It's unfortunate because his career as a footballer hasn't been that. So we got to be honest with ourselves. His career hasn't been that. If it was, then he wouldn't be playing in Newcastle he wouldn't have gone to Norwich.
I agree, Chris. I agree. But I just think you've seen an improvement consistently
100%
over the last 3 years, every season, where he's became a very useful player and a very good player and an absolutely excellent player this season. So at some point you've got to kind of, and he's 30 years old now, by the way, so that's one reason why we need to refresh the right wing position to keep that competition. But at some point you've got to kind of say, well, you know what, in recent years Murphy's been a good player for us. Again, you can argue about what good is, how good, is he, up there, up down there in terms of being a good player for us. You can have that debate, but I just think we've got to kind of settle that in terms of how well he's done in recent years. Just a purple patch, like Almiron maybe was.
I think, and by the way, I'm very consistent with this. I think Gordon, as much as he's got all this praise, England, and wants him as a stepson and all that stuff, I think he's still on the purple patch. He's on the purple patch. He done great last season, and this season it's been on and off, a lot of times off, not mature enough in a lot of ways. So I think he's on the purple patch as well. The only problem with him is now he's got all this money guaranteed, and that's if it was a purple patch last season, we're in trouble because he's guaranteed money. But we will see. on the Nicholas Jackson send-off, I mean, that definitely turned. What a numpty, by the way. You know, it's. I mean, that talk about not having players that are not smart. This is a critical game for their season or European hopes. Kind of the same thing that similar. This was actually probably less than the Gordon push, shove, punch, assault on Venheka at the time, but still dumb. And that helped us a lot, you know. But even before that, 1-0 up. I mean, I could never see this game. I think we controlled the game for the most. Although Chelsea in the second half had the ball, I guess you can say, but they didn't.
Listen, the second half was squeaky bum time.
Well, we were milking it. We were milking it.
I was in 1-0 now, and we were under the cosh.
But before we, because I got it right here on my screen.
It looked like they had 12 men. 10,
exactly,
men.
And we had 10. Did anybody object to Nicholas Jackson being sent off?
No,
not at all.
Yeah.
I mean, even the Chelsea fans, if you ever look at all the Chelsea podcasts and stuff like that, they're all saying exactly the same. They're all blaming him for them losing the game, and I actually don't believe that at all. At the end of the day, they come to life when he was off the pitch.
Hey, listen,
we were in complete control before he was sent off.
I was watching the game, right, but it was like 6 a.m. over here. I was watching the game, and then on my phone, like this, literally in bed, watching it, and I had my wife's phone on Gary on the other side, on the other phone, on my wife's phone, and I see a message from a Chelsea friend of mine. He said, YouTuber as well. He said, imagine we used to have a Drogba, and now we got this numpty Nicholas Jackson. You know, how far have the mighty fallen, he said. And, you know, I'm not going to say his name because, you know, but I guess to a certain extent it's true. It wasn't smart.
He's never going to be, I think, on the level of Drogba, but I think there is a good player in there. But he lets himself down with his attitude. He seems absolutely erratic as hell and ill-disciplined all the time, and he's a threat in behind, and he does need a few chances to score a goal. But like I say, I think he could be a really good player, but I think there's a bit of a kind of mental block there, an attitude problem.
I think that's kind of Chelsea's downfall in general. I would say, if looking from the outside, is they've got a few players who maybe you could say have got questionable temperaments. Him being one, and you saw that incident I think earlier in the season. Or was it last season with the penalty when they were fighting over who's going to take the penalty? They all wanted to take it.
They all wanted it, yeah.
Aye.
It's very bitter, isn't it? But to be fair, that's why I mentioned Botman. I think Botman got under his skin, and he got frustrated because he wasn't giving Botman an inch. He wasn't giving him an inch, Botman. And I think in the end, when the ball come from Sanchez, you could just see, you know, the one thing in his mind, especially when he turned and looked at him, that, I mean, you know, all the pundits at the time were saying, well, it's because he didn't jump. Botman didn't jump. Well, he doesn't have to jump. What he did was he crouched to get that spring, and that was when the impact in the face. And at the end of the day, you know, the intent was shown by all.
Well, the thing is, you know, Dermot Gallagher, he does his what is it, Ref Watch? Is that what he does?
Yeah.
Or something like
that. Did he actually?
Well, he said Nicholas Jackson looks at him as Botman, and he's made up his mind on what he's going to do. He arrives at speed, and he can't challenge for the ball. The ball is not even in the picture, and that's the point, you know, because Eddie Howe after said that he doesn't think he had bad intentions, and on his attitude. It didn't seem, because you know sometimes players get angry, start throwing their hands, excited. He just walked off.
Isn't that a thing, though?
I think he may have just for no explanation, to be honest. And again, I don't start judging intentions because anybody can say I felt to do this or I didn't mean to, whatever. But it didn't really seem. It almost felt like he just had his arm up and got him in the head, and that's enough to. Intentions are not valid because you can never. What are the intentions? You ask Jeffrey Dahmer if he meant to kill 1,000 people, he'd tell you he didn't. So
his reaction was telling. His reaction.
Post the red card, there was. I mean, apart from Fernandes, nobody else complained. Yeah. I think that tells you exactly what the intention was. Because if you didn't mean it, you actually start saying, "Hold on, you know,
protest."
I tried to protect myself by just putting my hand there, and he didn't even mention it. All he did was hide his face in his shit.
Sometimes those type of plays though get confused when you jump and you make this motion to kind of push yourself up, if you will.
Everybody jumps with their arms, Chris. Yeah, everybody does.
Sometimes it happens that way, but in this case, I mean, the ball is not even in the picture, so it's kind of.
But as you've just said there, Chris, and isn't this telling for me? Eddie kind of almost trying to give him a buy on it, saying it was, unfortunate the way it happened.
He didn't feel
Can you imagine the difference between Eddie's attitude there?
I'll tell you what.
And if that had been Arteta,
I don't know what you're going to say.
Let me tell you
what
something.
would Arteta have said?
Perfect segue to my next quote from yesterday. You don't have to guess. All you got to do is, what if it was Maresca? Because Maresca came out in the press conference and said, unfortunately, or he probably didn't say unfortunately, but kind of the same thing. In this stadium, or the stadium makes the calls. They determine whether it's penalty or it's a red card or not. And that insinuates that it wasn't in his eyes, and it's just because of the atmosphere that the referee didn't have the bollocks to just say, no, it wasn't a red. So there you go. That's the example right there, without going too far.
On that, Chris, right? What he actually said, though, I think, he actually said, though, I believe anyway, that he said other decisions were made by the crowd. Yeah. But the sending off, I think he kind of accepted. But he said other decisions are made by the crowd. And by the way, that's a compliment, really. I'll take that all day long.
It is, but it is until you win a couple of trophies, and then they're going to be saying that there's corruption. The Newcastle will never get a penalty called against them at St. James's Park or a red card and all of that. You know what I mean? It's all.
I know what you mean. But if they're saying because the referee is intimidated by the crowd, that means the crowd are doing the job. So
yeah, if the crowd make decisions, then Caicedo should have been watching from the stands.
Oh, Caicedo, boy.
Simple as.
I mean, Tonali proves me wrong. It proves me right every time, man. When I said Tonali is better than Caicedo and Declan Rice, and to be honest, he is. There's another idiot that came out today, or was it today or yesterday? One of the true Geordie made him basically. Rory Jennings, who works for TalkSport, by the way, as well as he's got his own podcast, etc. I really couldn't, as much as banter you want to throw, I could never find myself to say stuff like this because it makes zero sense. Literally, you have thousands and millions of people saying you're an idiot, which he has, and maybe that's, I guess, any attention is good attention for certain people. And I couldn't understand what the criticism was because they were criticizing Joelinton for wearing an old kit.
Yeah.
What was the credit? Let's take a watch real quick and see what actually was happening.
Oh no,
it's a joke, man. There's no sound, Chris.
There's no sound.
No.
Okay, let me go back. Let me go.
No, that's too boring.
Oh yeah, we'll all put our shirts on. Grow up.
Yeah, I know.
That's probably from classic football shirts. Joelinton.
Sitting there in the ground in a shirt, not playing as a professional footballer. Like, it's an epidemic up there. They all wear kits, don't they? It's an epidemic. They all love to go in fancy dress. Why do they do that? Like,
well, you want him in a suit? You want him in a suit?
50-year-old.
What is the? I don't know who's he's talking about. A 50-year-old, by the way. Who's the 50? He may be.
He's on about the crowd.
General, yeah.
He's on about the crowd. Everybody wearing their black and white shirts.
It wasn't. But I don't know what Chelsea did. By the way, Chelsea, they were known last season for having They were known last season for bringing up a bed onto the stands so people can nap while they're at the games. Well, that's kind of probably where how they've gone south on what they're doing. This guy, maybe he's a frustrated wannabe footballer because he's coming at Joelinton.
Don't give him the.
He's coming at Joelinton. He's coming at Joelinton. Well, he already got the publicity. Trust me. He's going at Joelinton for what? Wearing an old kit, being in the stadium. He just nothing makes sense.
To me, that seems like he can't be that stupid to make comments like that and actually believe what he's saying. I think he wants the clicks, like you say, because that is just ridiculous. I loved it. Joelinton wearing that shirt, it was absolutely class to see.
Well, and his missus. It was Joelinton and his missus
Exactly.
that wore the shirts.
Yeah.
And like I say, it just proves, how much love these players have got for the club.
That's it.
It's a totally different feeling from the glory of the Londoners, the Southerners. When you support a team like Newcastle, nothing comes easy for you. And when you've got a bit of freedom within good owners, good players on the field that are performing, all these people in the background that have been, nurturing the power of being Champions League winners and things like that, they're all feeling under pressure now. And the only way they can deal with it is by slander. It's just by naming. Has he got the bollocks to come up to St. James's Park and call any 50-year-old you're a fat whatever, yeah? Because I'll tell you something now, the lad can sit in his comfy armchair in his studio and speak whatever he likes behind a camera, but he wouldn't do it to any fucker's face, I'm sure.
No. He's and by the way, I mean, he does work for TalkSport, by the way, which is
he's an
kind of weird.
idiot. I mean, somebody in the chat said.
Well, there you go. We got.
He said Haaland wouldn't get 15 goals in the season.
Hel Cesar said that people should get a petition to get him kicked out of TalkSport. Listen. He is free to say whatever he wants to say, and we are free to say he's a damn idiot for it. So now. I guess he's
laughing all the way to the bank.
If you're in a company like TalkSport, do you allow people saying that kind of that stupidity? Well, I mean, I guess they're a private company; they can do whatever they want. I guess, but
gets the attention. That's the thing.
But TalkSport does like attention. Trust me, so they might enjoy this.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So but anyway, I'm sure there'll be some numpty Chelsea fans that can't realize they played through their backside and just agree with him. But there will be some Chelsea fans, obviously, that understand that numpty doesn't represent them and that they play horrible. And for European hopes, it's not a good to have lost yesterday. But anyways, I wanted to bring up, but before that, by the way, I wanted to tell you what we got going on the channel this week, and maybe Mighty Win will figure it out from right now. What we're doing, so he can actually get the panels right for once. And tomorrow, Tuesday at 9:30 p.m., we're going to be talking about the badges, a little cropped up. Some examples that we've seen. I like the one on top, NUFC with the sausage roll, 1982. The green one is not going to happen. No. But if the green one happens, trust me. It will be a meltdown. It just won't happen. But regardless, we're going to talk about
the Greg's one might happen, Chris.
That Greg one might happen, man. I don't know, or the NUFC guy next to him. That might happen. But we're going to get into that tomorrow. So please join us on Wednesday. That's going to segue us to.
I love the sexist one.
There's gonna segue us to the Wednesday 2 p.m. show, which is Newcastle United losing its identity? Because PIF is making hard changes.
Because we are losing our identity because all of a sudden we're successful. Wow.
Yeah.
We have lost our identity.
A lot of people, that's fine. You had your opinion. A lot of people don't like it, though. So, we got to respect everybody's opinion. It's going to be a spicy one, a good one, to say the least. On Friday, the quiz is back. So join us for the NUFC FA Cup final 1998 and 1999. As we resume on the quiz, we got there Nobis.
What's up with
the
legend, Nobby? But what's up with that choosing that particular final, Chris?
We already did Arsenal.
Yeah,
and so we got to do Man United, the Man United final.
Oh, so you done this 97 one, did you?
We did the Arsenal one. Yeah. So we're gonna be picking these, I guess, legendary matches that we've been. Participated in.
He loves picking games we'll lose.
Well, what are you going to say? It ain't my fault, brother. It's whoever was playing, not me. In 98, I was a Baron, so it ain't my fault. But anyways, join us for those. We'll have a good time. And anyways, Enzo Maresca, I just see this. He snubbed Jason Tindall's handshake at the. What's going on with Tindall, man? He's got beef with everybody, man. Everybody doesn't like Tindall. I guess
like Tindall.
Maresca refused to to shake his hand with the Magpies leading 1-0. Tindall and Chelsea left back Marco Curella shared some choice words with one another as the Spaniard went to retrieve the ball from near the tunnel. Maresca was also involved after already picking up a yellow card for a separate incident in the first half, and decided against shaking the hand of Newcastle's assistant. And he was questioned by the way on this, and he said he spoke in Italian, I think, or something like that. He said, "I shook Eddie Howe's hand, and this is enough, I think." So there you go.
Fair enough.
Tindall again. By the way, though, I don't like coaches having words with players now. I don't think they should be in that. They're not in the same level. They need to, I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I've seen, was it Rooney? I think Rooney against somebody, or against Pep maybe, in a derby. I don't like that, man. I think that the managers need to be on another. You wouldn't see that with Eddie Howe, though. Eddie Howe wouldn't do that. Wouldn't be fighting a player or arguing with a player.
That's class.
Yeah, so I think that the Tindall needs to copy that a little bit. But let's go on. Where is it? Let me see. No, I had it right here. Murphy joins a league group of English players, which I don't know why it says English, because one of them is Salah in that list, which is he's just below Mo Salah in assists for a season, I think, with 11. Mo Salah has 12, has more assists than Murphy. Mo Salah 12 has more assists than Murphy in the top flight this season, and Newcastle man will look to add to his impressive stats in the Magpies' penultimate game of the season against Arsenal on Sunday. He's also joined by Cole Palmer, Ollie Watkins, who's had 15 goals, 8 assists. Ollie Watkins, 16 goals, 7 assists. And so he's, now let's talk about the one and only Jacob Murphy then. He is, he's pulling up some numbers this season, man.
Totally. I mean, I'll tell you what as well, we talked about him a little bit earlier on there. And for me, he's in the same bracket as the likes of Joelinton and Fabian Shaw, where, we were saying earlier, Murphy, purple patch and all that. But the way I look at it as well is just following on from what was said about him earlier. You look at Fabian Shaw, for example, like played under Steve Bruce. Joelinton was the same. They were voted off. We all vote them off. I mean, more so Joelinton, but it turns out now that there was a player there in the case of Shaw, in the case of Joelinton and Murphy. So I think it just goes to show that maybe, we look at someone like Murphy and we think, oh, it's a purple patch, but really, I think they all just needed a manager to come in who was going to see the best in them and extract as much as they could out of them, and get the best out of them. And we've seen that with not just Murphy but other players. And I think now we get to see the real Jacob Murphy. We didn't see the real Jacob Murphy before because it was under a management team that was lackadaisical and that was not even training half the week.
Yeah, but Peter, let me chat, because my argumentative side wants to come out and challenge you, because he's been playing since 2013 for Norwich, Swindon Town, Southend United, Blackpool, this other club I don't know, but it's another United, Colchester United, Coventry City, West Bromwich, Sheffield Wednesday. Let me tell you something. I agree with you that Eddie Howe can help out a player. But, he's been through all these coaches. You're going to tell me the only good coach he was managed under was Eddie Howe?
Yeah. Well, it's a late flourish, but, he done well at Norwich. He must have done something right for us to sign him in the first place in Norwich. He must have been doing all right there.
They loaned him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. They loaned him out.
Yeah,
well, does it really matter? Does that matter? Does it? Does it really matter how he came good? I mean, at the end of the day,
look, he's
been identified. Yeah, no, he's been identified by Eddie Howe as a player who has something about him. Otherwise, Eddie Howe would have sold him. But no, he's looked at him and thought, I can do something with you, and he has. And I just think that would have happened before. If Bruce was a decent manager, he would have done that, and he didn't, because he's not on the same level as Eddie Howe. So
that's true.
I think is a common theme with these players like Joelinton and Fabian Shaw, where we are seeing the best of these players. And yeah, I mean, okay, you look at his history and, he's been at all these clubs loaned out, but it's like I said, it's a late flourish, but if he's quality regardless of when he comes good. I think
I agree with you. I will shake your hand if I respect your opinion if you respect me being skeptical that he might not or might do it next season. Like I have my doubt. I have my question mark there. Yeah, I think it's fair enough. I mean,
I understand that. Yeah.
And, he might do it, but he definitely doesn't need to be sold. I'll tell you that. He needs to stay in the team. That's 100%.
I think a new signing would actually help him to be pushed on even further. Do you know what I mean? Like, to keep him on his toes, he needs someone to be competing for that spot.
But by the way,
I actually think that's what's happening at the minute. I think the reason he's doing so well is because he knows in the background every single Newcastle fan is saying we need to sign a right winger, and he's saying I'm going to prove these bastards wrong. I'm going to, show them that we're doing.
Yeah, stake his claim.
Mm-hmm. And that's possible.
But let me ask you.
This is the whole point. The fact that Newcastle have always had, for since the takeover and long before that, such a poor bench has meant that the players in possession of the shirt haven't really had to fight for their places. And now, in the case of Murphy, he doesn't. He's hearing all of the. Well, he did. He had Miggy. It was Miggy was in front of him.
All right. Well, I think Miggy was just bad, and Eddie Howe had no choice.
Yeah. But that this is the point I'm making. That the competition that Murphy had at the time was Miggy. And to be fair, at the time, in my opinion, Miggy was better. But Eddie Howe has somehow seen what he could give us and has brought it out of him, which was why when Miggy was sold, Miggy was no longer first choice. Murphy was first choice. And I think that's just excellent.
I think you've also got to take into account, you've got to feel wanted as a player. To get the best out of any player, you've got to feel as though you belong to the club. If you're a manager or a coach that's just going to throw you out on loan all the time, you don't feel loved anymore. I mean, we've all heard the Isaac Hayden story where, he's trying to find a new club. The club are trying to support him. And he said, notoriously, time after time, he's just never felt wanted at Newcastle. And sometimes wherever you go to on loan from that can affect your performance mentally because you feel like a bit part to the jigsaw. So I think what Eddie Howe's done, and as the lads have all rightly said, the amount of players that have been inherited by Eddie Howe from the Steve Bruce era and have achieved a lot higher in performance is twofold. So that can only fall back on two things. One, the player being willing to try and want to learn. And two, having a coach that understands you as a player and respects you as a player. And I think if you can combine the two, you start seeing not just the purple patch as we had with Miggy, but a continued performing player that may not always hit their high notes because we know he's technically not that good. But what you actually get from that, as you saw yesterday, when he dribbled 4 or 5 players yesterday coming from that right side centrally, is a player that's determined to have a go, to run at players. He doesn't hide. Even when he's having a bad game, he won't hide. He'll come back and do another one. I mean, he made a cross yesterday, and like I made a comment, it was like John Smith's advert. Have it, because it went nowhere apart from, the upper tiers. But I mean, the next ball, he's delivering a good pass. And I think that's what you get with Murphy. He's as bloody frustrating as they come. But when you put the likes of Anthony Gordon and Harvey Barnes on the same platter, and one player, Murphy, is more or less mirroring 2 of our star players at the moment, then he ain't having a bad season.
I would say as well, I think David T said there about his fitness and his physique and he's strong as an ox. I agree with that in that when I was watching him in 2017 when he first came and Rafa signed him, you could see he was like a fish out of water, and he was 22 or something at the time. And I think you can see that he is a confidence player in that, like you say, Gary, he needs a manager who makes him feel wanted perhaps more than some other players. And now that he's got that, he's seeing the best out of him. And now that he's kind of physically in the best shape possible, he's adapted, I would say years ago to the rigours of the Premier League since Howe came in, really. And I would say about his crossing as well. I agree. I remember that one that went miles over. That cross that he put in.
One bad ball all day.
It was. But what I like about him is his intent. So he has the intent to whip that ball in, and sometimes it comes off, and sometimes it doesn't. But we've got a player there who whips that ball in first time, like for the goal, puts it in the corridor of uncertainty, and that's one of the reasons why he gets so many assists, because he's willing to do that and he has that intent. And when you combine that with the likes of Barnes and Gordon, who mix it up a bit more, it's a brilliant balance. And we've discussed this a million times, but I just love the way Murphy is a bit of a throwback that way. Right foot, whip it into the danger area. And that's one of his skills. And he's harnessed that skill and he's focusing on that skill. And he's not trying to do something he can't do. It's amazing, really, when you look back when he signed, how he's came on now. But like I say, I think he's gradually got better over the last 3 years, and he's been a really good player for us. And I would sign a right winger, definitely, in the summer.
But Steve, by the way, there's made a really good comment as well, just come in. He's got better players playing with him as well. Players that can hold on to the ball. It makes your job as a player, when you've got the confidence to get the ball and give it and then make a run into space, so much easier. And it makes you look good when you've got good players around you.
I think I
totally agree with that.
If you're training with them every day as well, that elevates, I think, your game.
Yeah. Let's go with Alan Shearer, who said, "Tell me who's better than Murphy." Let's take a listen to Alan and the Rest is Football podcast.
It's been flowing, and I am on fire.
I remember my first drink as well, honestly. God.
I wanted to give a shout out to Jacob Murphy because he's now got 13 assists, Alan, this season. Only Mo Salah has more.
I'll go sleep for the next part. Wake me up when Alan's finished talking.
And you won't want to go to sleep talking about Jacob Murphy because of how outstanding he has been. I mean, he is, there's no doubt, candidate for team of the season. Anyone going to argue with that?
He plays in the position of Salah, though.
Ahead of who?
Well, hang on. Tell me, when you just mentioned all the assists and everything else, and tell me who's been better than him.
Mo Salah.
Other than Mo Salah.
Yeah, but it's the same position. That's my point.
He plays on the right.
Well, we'll move him. We'll find a position for him.
That's not how it works, Alan.
It isn't my fucking team.
Oh, this is fantastic.
Well, there you go. That was Alan Shearer backing up his man Jacob Murphy, Toon legend Alan Shearer. When you disagree that who's had a better season, Mo Salah or Murphy?
There's no argument there. Mo Salah.
So, but you talking about player of the season for the right wing?
No, I mean, he's talking about getting in the team of the season.
Well, yeah, but you got to have one right wing. That's all you can have.
Well, you can play Murphy on the left.
No, you can't do that, man.
Does Salah not play up top sometimes?
Yeah, but you're gonna have to have Isak there.
The right wing, Salah.
You're gonna have to have Isak there because Isak is the best striker of the season.
Well, that's right, and that's the chemistry that's so.
Well, there you go. You could just. I will tell you this. Well, man, maybe I shouldn't actually, because I will, because this is gonna help Murphy's case. I think, as far as importance for their season, both Mo Salah and Murphy have been as important to their particular team overcome their particular objectives. So I mean, Mo is probably the best player on his team. I don't think Murphy is that, but I think as far as doing their particular job, they have been both as important. So maybe a lot of words for nothing, but for whatever it's worth, there you go. I just did something for Murphy there, but yeah, I mean, he's not gonna be above Mo, but look at it though. If Mo had a rubbish season,
Mo, you're talking Ballon d'Or winner here, man.
yeah. Well, what do you want me to do? He's playing the Premier League, man. What do you want me to kick him out? Like he's the right wing there, man. And you
It must
certainly
be a slightly different role because I mean the way Murphy as well, his work rate is just immense. As well as all these assists he's got, he tracks back so much.
I'm gonna say you don't ever see Salah going a 5 at the back, do you?
That's it.
Ever.
No.
You know, he's the outlets. He's the one who sits on the halfway line. His work's done. He's only walking forward. He doesn't work backwards at all.
Mm-hmm.
And it suits Liverpool because they've always got an out.
Yeah, of course.
You know, we don't work that way. And that's what I said. You can't, you know, your favourite saying, Chris, is like comparing, you know, water and wine, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, both played a different system. But again, you've got to give credit where credit's due. Mo Salah is at the top of the tree when it comes to the final third. But if I wanted a team player, I think Murphy is that team player.
Yeah.
I love Mo Salah. I mean, when you compare Jacob Murphy right now, I don't know whether you guys have heard any of these names. I'm going to give you some comparisons of this is the wheel of fortune, if you like. Hakan Haraldsson, he's 87.9% similar to Murphy. Never heard of him. Bedreddin Bouanani, he's 87.69. Another one I haven't really heard of. Eden Zigrova, I've heard of him. He's not a bad player. Brahim Diaz from Real Madrid, I've heard of him. He's not a bad player either. And then you've got Tijani Reinders, all within the 80 percentile of him. So, you know, when you look across the globe, I mean, this lad's at AC Milan, and again, a decent player. But when you start looking at players that you could probably come in at a reasonable price, you know, I know it sounds crazy, and I know he's got issues. I would seriously have a look at Cherky. 21-year-old who's really hitting the high notes at the minute.
We got our share of twat transfer news to talk about here quickly. One of them is Al-Hilal, according to the football faithful. Al-Hilal ready to break the bank for a Saudi transfer record for Premier League star Bruno Guimaraes with 140 million bid. This is it. According to Football Insider, they're saying this, that they are ready to pay 140 million euros, 118 pounds, for Bruno. I tell you
Saudi
what,
club.
It's a Saudi club, baby. I think they might be. I don't know. Roy might know more in depth of who, because some of them are owned by their own perspective, people, but the majority are owned by the state. I don't know about Al-Hilal, but if they are owned by the prince, it might be doing us, a little sneaky favor there. But 118 million, man. Would you guys sell them?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't. What, for 140 mil?
No,
40.
Well, 40 euros. I mean, it's
140.
140 euros. It's 120.
For 100 mil.
It's 100. Yeah, so 118
Depends
pounds.
this summer coming up.
Yeah. You've got to.
I mean, I can see why you would. I can see, obviously the logic.
I've said out of our crown jewels,
I would never. Let me tell
I
you
think
something.
he is the easiest to replace.
I would listen. People, I think some of you may disagree, but there is, to me, absolutely no money I would take for Tonali or Isak. No amount of money, none. Because you're not going to replace them for better players. And the point is not to be rich or not to be a selling club, but to actually win trophies. You're not going to win them without top elite players, and you're not going to be able to replace them. You're not. I mean, Isak, who are you going to replace him with? Nobody. Nobody's available.
No.
Tonali, I don't think. Look at the midfielders. I don't. I mean, you might get away with Bruno, but
Bruno was the crown jewel until Tonali appeared on the scene, and until J7 started producing.
But a midfielder, there's a million midfielders that. I mean, listen, I'm not trying to. I know people like Bruno lifting the flag up and yelling at the fan. I know that people fall in love with that stuff, but I think as far as football is concerned, I think it's going to be easier to replace him than Isak, 100%.
Well, Aaron Kant, I absolutely agree with you. Out of the crown jewels, but I'm not. Right now, I'm not classing.
Well, we're going to get into Botman in a minute. Trust me.
I'm not classing Botman as a crown jewel.
I think with Bruno, I think there's two things. There's what he embodies in terms of his personality, in terms of his drive, and the clear love he has, for playing for us. And I think that's infectious.
Hey.
So there's that, and then there's the player himself.
That's what you say.
For
Bruno
a contract,
has cemented his feet to Tyneside. You would have to take him kicking and screaming.
Yeah, that's what all fans like to think. But let me tell you something.
Well, Bruno himself said in recent quotes along the lines of it was interesting wording of it. He said something like, "If it's good for the club."
Yeah.
So as in, if the club get a lot of money,
he's not going to he's not going to be a sellout or go say, yeah, I'm waiting for the right offer. He's not going to say anything like that.
But he would understand.
Chris, do you honestly think that Bruno has not got the love for the city and the club which he so publicly expresses? Do you not think that's the case?
I think he loves Newcastle, yes.
Yeah.
But the point is, let me tell you, he can love the city all he wants to, but according to this 118 million pounds, that's a lot of money. That's the world transfer record for Saudi Arabia. So you can assume his salary would be about, 500,000?
Yeah.
600? And let me tell you something. You can love the town all you want to, but you got to come home to one person.
Absolutely.
And she got to look at you in the face when you say what? You say no to what? Levy, we can love the 2-0. He can become a Magpie member plus for the rest of his life.
What Betty said?
Maggie said
man, Betty will be Sunderland Talk TV around here for that kind of money.
It was like, how many cameras can I buy for that?
I tell you, man. Hey, I don't know. That's a lot of money, man. That is a lot of money. So I don't know.
Like I said, I think it depends where we finish as well. Like, obviously, I know hopefully we'll do it, but it's not in the bag.
Pretty much.
And if we didn't get Champions League and you get offered that sort of money, you can then sign 4 players or something of high quality.
I think it's tricky. I mean, you can't make an omelette without breaking some eggs. So I do appreciate, that you've got this financial difficulty they're in. You might have to look at these kind of things, these options. But I mean, I think it feels too early. It feels too early to let him go.
By the way, it's a
but I was going to mention that. See, the point is, people get it mistaken all the time. It's if we are corroborated or saying this is going to happen. We just grab these stories and have a conversation amongst lads. That's it.
Yeah.
What would happen? And we're not confirming. It's probably not going to happen. And I said it in the beginning. We have a few twat stories to cover. And the next one is, which I really thought was crazy, from Transfer News Live. Immediately before, right after we kicked off, I saw it. This made me laugh, man. According to the Corriere dello Sport, who is a big media outlet in Italy, Manchester United will rival Juventus in the race to sign Sandro Tonali from Newcastle this summer if they lose Bruno Fernandes to the Saudi Pro League. Let me tell you something. A Corriere dello Sport, they might know something. They might have the intentions to do it, and that's why they're posting this.
Yeah.
But he's not leaving Newcastle for Man United. No. I think Man United fans are deluded to think that they have any pull in this world with top players. You might convince what's the guy that they're signing from Wolves? Was it or no? The other
Cunha.
Was it Wolves?
Cunha.
Cunha. You might persuade them twats, but you're not. Sandro Tonali is on another level, man. He's not going there. He's not. So
I mean, they're on about now that what's his name? The Ipswich striker, Delap. Is now he wants to go to United.
Delap, yeah.
And I think it's only because there's a chance of playing. I don't think anybody like the likes of Delap who knows if he comes to the likes of Newcastle, he's going to be a bit part player to Isak. Whoever comes as a striker is going to be a bit part player to Isak. and it depends on what he wants out of his career. He's a young player that wants to shine. So I can understand players like him going to Man U. I can't really understand the likes of Cunha.
No.
Wanting to go to Man U.
I understand Man United wanting Tonali. Obviously, everyone wants Tonali. Yeah. So I understand that part, but
he ain't going over there, man.
Let's talk about Bruno.
I
wouldn't want to see that.
What was that? Let's all talk about Bruno.
That was an interesting one. I've read that literally just before I come in about Spurs. If he does get sacked, they're coming in for Eddie Howe.
They missed the chance. They missed the chance. They could have got him. They could have got him when we got him, and they obviously turned their nose up at him. And
I don't. Helsazar, I don't want Spurs to win the final. No, I don't. I don't. It wouldn't kill Man U as a team. They've been killed already, man. You can't kill the dead.
Well, I do, because it takes the financial window to Man U.
That's cool. That's all. That's. But Spurs can say this season we've won out of the drought of titles. With Aston Villa, clubs on the same level, Aston Villa, Spurs, Newcastle, that they've won the most important one this season, because it would be. The Europa League would be the most important out of compared to. I don't want that. I don't want that at all. It would literally. I would be pissed off for a whole 2 weeks or 3.
See,
I just can't do it.
Man U, give me Spurs every single.
Let it go to Man U, man. They got 20 of them. They're not. Next season they're gonna be crying and complaining and shouting all over again.
Now, Man U are in financial problems.
Yeah, that ain't gonna do nothing to it, man. How much are they gonna win? It's not. People make them. We've talked about this already. They make their money off TV rights.
Having to sell Garnacho to Chelsea.
Well, so how much are they gonna get for the Europa League? That's gonna be pennies on top of what they actually need.
No, but it puts them in the Champions League next year.
So who cares, man? I don't want Tottenham.
Because Man U are a bigger pull than Tottenham.
I do not want Tottenham to win nothing, let alone a European trophy. I can't. I could not handle it. I could not handle it. Trust me.
Given the choice between the two,
I just can't do it.
I'll have Tottenham all day.
No, man, because we won't live it down. You're not seeing that part. We will not live that down.
Right? Man United play Villa last game of the season. I think Old Trafford, right? And we obviously would want Man United to beat Villa in that match. Do we want Man United going into that game on a high or on a low when they've lost the final, down in the dumps? I know I'm being maybe pedantic here, but if they've won the cup, maybe they've got more chance of being on more confidence, going in that match with a better mindset.
They're already on holiday, mate.
I know. That's funny though, because
if you saw the way they played the weekend, Jesus.
Are you pull up? Who wants Spurs to win? Who wants Man U to win?
Yeah, we can do that. Kenneth says, Ange says he did say that, by the way. He wins the trophy in the second season, which is.
Yeah.
I can't stand Ange, so to see him lift the
quite
trophy,
like
I mean,
Ange, actually.
Oh dear.
Nah, he's done a horrible job for.
Play the thing. What is it?
He's full of excuses.
That's what it is.
That's who we are, mate.
It is what it is.
All right, let's finish or let's segue to Sven Botman, who seems to have been rocked by a knee problem once again. As Newcastle United get 94.9% chance of champion. Well, that's what the Chronicle is saying. There was what the hell happened with him again, man? It's Eddie Howe, I think, downplayed it, but the point of the conversation is every time he comes back, there's an issue, and it can't be a coincidence. As much as Botman wants to get angry and come back at any YouTuber, TikTok, whatever. I mean, he got called out for saying, he's injured prone, and then he got mad and responded. Ultimately, bro, the record speaks for itself. And you can't keep getting injured or having these setbacks or minor problems after every comeback. Something's going on. Is he going to ever get better for Newcastle United? Is he ever going to be fit? Is he ever going to just be able to compete against Byrne and and Shearer if he happens to play there? Or are we in dire need to get a center back this summer?
I think we're definitely in need of a centre back, but it's more the right-sided centre back, isn't it? I mean, listen, without knowing the full extent of it, he's come back from minor surgery. Maybe it was just a little ache at the back of his knee. We don't know the full details of it, and maybe it was just a bit of protection. At the end of the day, once they went down to 10 men, the 3 centre backs were like a spare bit at a Vickers party. There was one spare body that was actually having a negative effect on our midfield, because who do you lose out of those 3? And I think Eddie Howe made the right decision. He'd got 50-odd minutes in his legs going forward to the next match. And maybe Eddie Howe said, he had a little bit of a feeling to his knee, and we've just pulled him off just to rest him.
Did anything get? Go on, Gary.
Well, like I said, there's been very little mentioned of this so-called knee problem.
Well, I was going to say,
anywhere else.
He didn't. When Botman was
Eddie
coming
Howe
off,
said
he looked fine.
That's what I said. It was Eddie
No,
Howe
apparently at half time he was icing his knee. That's what I read. So then when he came out,
it was just general fatigue kind of thing, with the
look. But at this point, when it comes to these situations, though, at some point you just gotta. Perception is key. Just say you're arresting them, but don't. Because Eddie Howe said Sven was slightly uncomfortable in the halftime break with a knee problem. That doesn't sound good. No matter how many times we're going to sugarcoat it, if you think it's not a big deal, then just say he's tired. We just got to get him back. Because now fans, rightly so, because of the history of Botman, is never healthy, then they're going to come with this whole, So he says that he doesn't think it's serious.
Well, yeah, when he came off, on the flip side, I would say he looked like he didn't want to come off.
Yeah,
Botman.
Absolutely.
He looked like a bit surprised, but I know what you mean, Chris. Like, you don't want to fuel the fire and have fans thinking he's going to be out again, and we might be risking him when we're not need to be risking him. But we'll see.
How much of that was media talk, though? We've got Arsenal next week. Are they? Is he just putting something out there to say, well, you're not going to know who I'm going to start next week?
Exactly. I was going to say we'll see against Arsenal. That'll be the answer. If he plays against Arsenal and he comes through that fine, then hopefully he's on the back. He's on the way back to full fitness. And next season it's a case of a right centre back, and that's it. We don't need a left centre back. Hopefully.
Yeah, the lad who's really peeing me off at the minute is Willick. He's in for one game and he's getting nearly as bad as Wilson. He's probably got the same or a similar record.
Yeah, well, you got to put Botman in there because he's never healthy.
Well,
but it seems like Willick, it's niggles all the time. Whereas at least Botman, he's had a serious injury. I know he's had a second one when he came back, but with Willick, it seems like you say, Gary, he'll play a few games and be injured, then play a few games and injured. It's all his niggles, and I just think Willick, his time might have gone now, and he's been a really good player. He's been a good player when he first came, but like I've said before, I don't think this formation really suits him, and I think really should find a club where they can play his strengths and we can get a bit of cash for PSL.
So in injuries, Eddie Howe said on Trippier and Willick, Kieran has a calf problem, Joe has a thigh problem. They are both similar injuries. We don't think they're serious injuries, but we don't know if we see them again this season.
Calf strain and a thigh strain.
We would love to get them back fit and able to play a part, but at this moment in time, I have not really got an idea whether or not that's possible. On Joelinton, you miss a player like Joelinton. He says he's such an infectious character in so many different ways. When he's missing, you are looking for someone to step up. It is the same with Trippier. He's got so much experience and is very vocal. You miss his vocal presence when he's not there, not playing. So
where was the support from them two in the crowd? You saw J7 there.
Oh, yeah, we didn't see the other twats in there, did we?
No.
Well, I don't know. There might have been. I don't know.
I said in the show, is this Joe Willick now having a bit of egg on his face?
Well, let me tell you something. I keep the same things that I say before I say now, and I say the same thing. You got to support your teammates. When Bruno didn't go to Arsenal on the first leg of the cup semifinal, was it, or something like that? He didn't go. He should have went. He wasn't hurt. He just got. I think it was a double card or something like that. Double yellow card. You got to go out there and support your team. You're the captain, man. So I keep the same energy. Although Mighty wins, and it's no, but he's gonna get hurt getting down from the bus and all that bollocks. Go and support your team. Willick, you got to go out there and support your team. I didn't think about that, but that's a good catch. Joelinton was out there with his last.
Yeah, absolutely.
Having
He
a
might
good
have
time.
been, to be fair, we don't know. For certain.
We don't know. You're right. Thank you, Helsazar, for gifting a membership. That's going to McFly, 1982. What kind of shirt you got on, man? Is that a... That's not a red. That's not a cartel shirt, is it? You said 1982, so I'm assuming you're a Toon fan. So there you go, mate. Enjoy your membership. So anyway, what other comments we got there? Imagine getting knocked out of fifth place. Who would that be?
Arsenal.
Knocked on that. Yeah. That's true. They could very much. That could happen if they lose every game, but is it possible though for them to lose every game?
Yeah, well,
I guess everything is possible.
We're going to beat them once, and then they've got Southampton.
Yeah.
And I said there will be twists and turns in the last.
It's crazy. Let me tell you something. It's crazy how Liverpool is going, man. 83-68. I mean, that's unbelievable, the margin that they got. And yeah, we're right there, 2 points behind Arsenal. That's the next game. If we beat them, we go to second place. And that is massive. Massive.
And it's in our own hands.
Yeah, I think it was December the 20th, wasn't it? December the 20th, we were 12th, 11 points behind Arsenal.
And everybody was screaming for Eddie's head.
Yeah.
I don't know about Eddie's head, but if they were screaming, they were right.
Yes,
if they were screaming, they were rightly screaming. And if they're screaming for his head, it wasn't wrong. Yeah, they were, because we weren't playing good. So, that's how it goes. Football is moments. That's how it works.
No.
Now, if they were screaming for his head to be blown off and sacked, then I disagree with that. No, it isn't. Anyways. Yeah.
Exactly.
Anyways, so it could very much happen. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about the crest, the emblem, the logo of the Toon, soon to be eradicated from society evermore. Shall we be upset? Shall we? Should we expect this? It's been changed, by the way, so I don't understand the uproar. Some twat in the same twat that got bollocked by Botman, which in that case I kind of agree now, but in this case I don't, because he said we're losing that identity slowly. Shut up, man. It's changed 4 times before he was even alive. Jordy Josh, it was changed 3 times before that. So, nobody was, but that's the thing though. Everything is looked at in a different lens because the Saudis own the club. So everything they do, it seems like it's magnified to, but Peter,
losing identity might be a bit going far, but it is an iconic crest. I'll say that.
It is. And it would always be a part of the Toon, by the way. It ain't got
Do you think it's more iconic than the Tyne Bridge with a magpie on?
I think so.
But I think it's going to be. I think it's going to become.
My favorite is the second to last one with the Tyne Bridge.
With the Tyne Bridge, and the castle.
But the only thing
I like that one. Yeah.
By the way, which I just realised, and it had never struck me before. The badges for the NUFC one and the Tyne Bridge one, one magpie.
Yeah.
Exactly.
One for Sorrow.
Only one. Yeah,
so
but
whatever happens, if we're going to have magpies on the badge, we have to have more than one.
It's weird you say that.
It's important.
2 for joy.
It's important.
When I was watching the Chelsea game, I was too stressed, so I went out the room. I looked in the back garden, and there was 2 magpies sitting, looking at us on the tree in the garden. And I was like tearing my hair out thinking we're going to concede here, but that was maybe a good omen, wasn't it?
Well, it wasn't
magpies.
Yeah. So we'll talk about the emblem, and then we're going to segue the next day about PIF making drastic changes to the Toon. And we should probably expect that anyway. But although, can we say, have Man United ever changed their crest?
Yes.
If they have, how long has it been? I guarantee you.
They made
It's
a
been a
very
long
subtle
time,
change
man.
in the 90s, very subtle.
Yeah, but that ain't. Yeah, it's still the same kind of though.
It's pretty much the same from what
Well,
it was.
if
So-
you have a look at the second and third
Real Madrid.
shirts now, the same. Well, it's Juventus. Have just got the JJ on now.
They have changed that
That's terrible.
more recently.
Yeah, so a lot of the big clubs, Arsenal have just got the cannon now. You know, a lot of these clubs now have gone away from the
Yeah,
actual
but-
badge and just put the
No, but Arsenal still maintaining their shield though, and they got the cannon on the middle and all that.
Yeah, that was
they
yeah.
haven't.
Yeah, I mean, half this season it's a one-off. I think they've got
Yeah,
the
well,
cannon
that's what I
there,
said,
but
they've got to the
next
No,
second
but
and
because
third
but
shirt,
here's the
haven't
thing though. There's a difference that people are not understanding. A logo is not the same as a crest. Some teams may adjust their logo for certain things like marketing, etc. But it's not an official. We are changing our crest into this. You know, so you can probably do that. Like I'm trying to think of what other team did this. I've been hard to.
Liverpool
Man City did change
the
their.
Liverbird, and they amended it where they had the Liverbird on a lot of items for merchandise, but
Yeah.
they kept Crest, and now eventually
Exactly.
they've transitioned to where it's just the Liverbird.
So here's the thing. A logo is a visual symbol to represent a company or a brand, while a crest or coat of arms is more elaborate heraldic design, typically associated with organizations, you know, stuff. So football club. So both can be used, man. So I don't see, you know, a lot of teams in England have the lion though. What's that about? You guys are lions? Is that what we need to call you guys?
It's courage and stuff like that,
Yeah,
isn't
well,
it?
let
It's
me
all
tell you.
Fend off
bloody-
those Americans. You know what I mean?
Didn't see that courage in '72. But anyway, Win, what are you? Come on, man. This guy. The show is tomorrow, man. Anyway,
You're on about Man United.
well, that's your team.
So they've had that since 1998.
Yeah, but it's. Let me look at the change. It's basically nothing.
Pretty much the same since
Yeah,
70s.
exactly.
So in the 70s.
60 to 70, it's completely changed.
Not since the middle when I can't tell the age, but Forest I think changed theirs, haven't they? Like Liverpool did though. They like you said, Tim. I think they got the Liverbird, and before it used to be the whole thing.
Simple to print.
Yeah, but it's simple to print exactly.
I mean, there's a happy balance, happy medium. Like
I'll tell you
think
what, one
badges are terrible where it is just it's totally simplified and it comes across as really soulless.
Yeah.
But I understand, these things change all the time over the years, so I get that. But I'd rather maybe try and just modify the one we have now if we're going to change it, as opposed to rip it up.
Yeah, I don't think. I think they're going to make a circle.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'd try and avoid that myself, because like somebody said in the comments, these circle badges, they're all too common these days. And again, it's all samey.
I think they're going to make a circle. Man. Wolves did change theirs. They just made a little.
Wolves said.
You know, plain and simple. The one that's difficult to maneuver marketing wise.
Left in his ass.
The one that's very difficult to maneuver when I make thumbnails and stuff is Crystal Palace. It's very difficult to just. If you make it too big, then the other, you got to make both logos the same size. But you really have to make the Crystal Palace bigger. But then they got the wings, so you gotta. It's all weird. Hard to explain. Mighty Wind just went right above his head on that one, but it's okay. Anyways, we'll be back tomorrow, 9:30 p.m. Don't forget to join us, and we'll have a discussion on all things emblem related. We might bring in some examples. So bring your examples.
You'll need to forgive me if I fall asleep.
Yeah, well, it is very important for proper Toon fans. But he's a Man. Do we have it to bring up? He's a Man United fan. Did you guys see it? Tim and
yeah.
Oh, you saw it.
True colors revealed.
True colors, man. I'm telling you.
All right.
Anyways, we will see you guys later on. Take care. Ciao, ciao. How are the lads?
Cheers.